Hey everyone, happy fall and welcome to the September edition of the Tim Pearson Home Sales Team Market Advisor video. Now our goal is to provide insight about what we're seeing in the market locally to help our clients use real estate to achieve their long-term personal and financial goals. Now I'll break this video down into three segments. First, my overall impression. Second, a few data points to back up what we're saying. And finally, a deep dive into a specific area. Something hyper-local that you won't find from any other national real estate news outlet. And this month we're going to be looking at Loudoun County. So first, my overall impression. The DC metro real estate market remains a very hot seller's market. Now that trend started in April as the lack of inventory due to COVID combined with the strong desire for people to have more space. That lack of inventory combined with that strong demand created the strongest imbalance of housing supply and demand I've seen in my whole real estate career. And that created that incredibly hot seller's market. Now last month we saw some data suggesting that the market may be cooling off. And I wondered whether it was a blip or a trend. And while it's still too early to tell, the market remains very strong in the seller's favor this month as well. Now my guess is that later this fall things are going to slow down as they historically do as we approach the holidays. But to be honest, it all depends on the supply and demand ratio, and we'll just have to see. So, what does this mean for sellers? Well, in my opinion, if you're even remotely thinking about selling in the next 2 years, I would consider listing your home sooner rather than later. We would need to look at the stats for your neighborhood, but if you are interested in selling at all, call us today at 202-800-0800, and our team will walk you through what we think your house is worth in today's market and if it benefits you to sell quickly. So that's the headline, my overall impression. Here's a few data points to back up what I'm saying. First, look at the number of active listings compared to the 5-year average. 5,600 versus 8,600. Last month was pretty much the same, maybe slightly higher. Now, active listings measures how many homes are on the market. And the data backs up that there are still not enough homes on the market. Second, look at the closed sales compared to the 5-year moving average. 5,400 versus 5,100. So we are higher than the 5-year average in sales, and that tells me that the buyer demand remains very strong. Now some of that is likely to pent-up demand that would normally have happened in the spring that is now pushing into the summer and the fall. Some of that is also likely due to continued historically low mortgage rates. Now the strong buyer demand plus low seller inventory, as I said up front, just continues a trend that lands us firmly in a hot seller's market throughout the DMV. Now is supply and demand starting to normalize? Maybe, but not enough yet to cool off the market. And this chart shows the change in the number of new homes being listed on the market over the past few months. In April and May, you can see that dip which created the feeding frenzy. Last month, it started to rise. This month, it is still above the moving average for this time of year, but it's not getting any higher. It's leveling off a bit. Now that's good news if you're a seller. I'm not sure it's enough of a gain in new inventory to tip the scales towards buyers. In fact, I know it's not in the short term. Maybe it will be in the long term. But it is a sign of cooling. And we're going to watch this data very closely for our clients. Now, to finish things up, we want to take an in-depth look specifically at Loudoun County. And last month we looked very closely at Fairfax County. This is the data really you're not going to find anywhere else. Look at the trend regarding active listings in Loudoun County. I took this back 3 years. It's a clear downward trend. Generally speaking, if buyer demand remains strong, as active listings go down, prices should go up. And look at this. Over the same 3-year period, prices are going up. Not just a little bit, but over 20% the chart shows. And as you can see at the tail end here, starting in March of this year, the pace really cranked up with the onset of the pandemic. But something that's interesting here is where these price increases are really occurring. Look at this. This table shows you the price increases in some of the communities in Loudoun County. I sorted this table by the percent change in price from this year to the same time last year. Where's Upperville? Way out Route 50. Paonian Springs? West of Leesburg. Bluemont? Same, almost in Clark County. These are some major 1-year price increases. And the theme is something you will hear about in the news and something I mentioned to you way back in April. People are looking for more space, big homes, large plots of land, space for schooling, space for gyms, space for home offices, just more space. And if you had a home to sell in Western Loudoun in April and you watch this market video and you put your house in the market, you sold it fast and you would have likely sold it for way above what your house was worth in January. We're also seeing some incredibly expensive new home communities in these areas. So developers are buying up a farm and building $21+ million homes on them. And that will influence the appearance of price appreciation when you tear down a small house and build a big house. So that same house isn't necessarily selling for 20% higher, but the numbers imply that. So that's why it's so important to look at the data and compare your home to the ones that are similar that have sold, so you can really understand what your home is worth. And we can do that for you. We're also seeing that Hines Development just purchased a large tract of land, and they're going to be building 200 new homes also out in that area. And that trend will continue as long as people are buying $1 million homes out in the country. So that's a little insight for you. If you're a buyer, it's still a little rough out there. You have to be competitive. However, the great news is that you're getting some amazing interest rates, some as low as 2.5%, which is insanely low. So even if you have to pay a little bit more for that home, over the long term, if you hold on to it, you're going to pay less for it because your mortgage will be less each month. So now is not the time to buy with a short-term vision. For sellers moving away, sell if you can and want to cash out. Either way, we're here for you. And if you know someone who's looking to buy or sell a home, call us and we'll conduct a personal consultation to understand your needs, and their goals, and create a customized plan to get them to where they want to be. So don't wait. Call us today. We're here for you. 202-800-0800. Stay tuned for us in October when we'll be back and take a detailed look at what's happening in the district. Until then, stay safe out there. Wear your mask, protect yourself and others. And if there's anything we can do for you, please give us a call or email us at info@pearsonrealestate.com. Have a great month.